and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And Hampton, as a city, recently honored some folks who volunteer their time to help our city run better and to save you, the taxpayers, money. And I'm going to introduce you to two really extraordinary volunteers. My guests are Marilyn Woodall, welcome.
Thank you.
And Nancy Shields. Ms. Nancy, welcome back.
Thank you.
You were one of the first people that I interviewed when I started Round Robin, and your story is fascinating. So I'm going to start with you. How long have you been at the police department, combined paid and volunteer?
I was there 44 years with pay, 6 years volunteer.
That is just an amazing career. And why do you go back? You're retired. They stopped paying you, Miss Nancy. Didn't they tell you?
Well, I live alone, and to get out and see people, and I enjoy it, and going every morning. Like I said, I just like being there, and I love the policemen. On whatever they ask me to do, I'll do it if I can.
Does it keep you going? I mean, a lot of people your age are not out and about.
It keeps me going. I'm from a large family, and I've lost all of them. So, but except one daughter, and she's a social worker. So she brings me in the morning, she picks me up. So.
And you work how many hours a week? You work 4 days a week? I could count it up. 7 a.m. to
12:30 every day. Sometimes I'll stay a little longer, but I just hate leaving.
I believe that. I can't believe you're still going.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Still going. I'll be 90 my birthday.
Well, congratulations. That's pretty impressive. And Marilyn, you have been a volunteer for how long?
I'm starting my 13th year this month.
And you work amazing hours.
I do. I do.
Tell us when you come to work.
I come in usually at 5 o'clock, and I work till 1. But recently, I've started to increase my hours to about 12 hours a day. So
12 hours a day? They pay me to do that, and it's still too many hours.
It's time to give back. I think that it's important to help other people, and when you volunteer, that's exactly what you do. You help yourself, but you help other people.
What brought you to the Hampton Police Department?
My husband passed away, and I had too much time on my hands, so I retired. And for 2 years, I kind of floundered a little bit, and then I came to HPD. I've always had a special place in my heart for a police department, and I came there, and they were happy to have me, and I do whatever they ask me to do.
But how did you end up, I mean, you drive over from Suffolk every day. There are closer places you could have volunteered.
I went to Suffolk Police Department, and they didn't use volunteers, and they didn't know what they would do with me. So Pat Minetti was a neighbor of mine, and he said, go to Hampton. So I came here, and they did what they needed to do, and I said, I'll give you 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 to 1. And before too long, I was staying longer and coming in earlier. And so I choose to come in at 5 o'clock in the morning not to have to deal with traffic.
Oh, I bet.
And then I had a dog, so I had to be home by 1 o'clock. And it works. It works.
That is an amazing commitment to keep that up every day. I mean, you had clearly, I forget the number now, the most volunteer hours in the entire city.
You know what, to me, it's really not, it's a commitment to myself, but it's helping people. It's just doing what you need to do to help things to be better, and that's the goal.
What did you do before you retired?
My husband and I cleaned houses. We had a housekeeping business, and we did it together, and then after he passed away, I was able to retire, and so now I can do what I want to do with my time, and I'm not a shopper, I'm not a person to travel, so I just pour myself into work, and I love it.
That's a very physical job and a very demanding job, cleaning houses.
Yes.
And now, describe some of the things you do for the police department.
As a routine, I come in the morning, and I do a lot of computer work. I've been working on cold cases, going back through them to see if we have any DNA that can be brought up to help solve the cold cases. I am working on firearms where we're putting them into the computer and making a list of all the firearms that come through the department, and then we send them for trace. And so I keep track of that, which has been a lot lately.
So this would be guns that have been used in a crime and have been picked up as evidence, and
Yes.
you're trying to run them through the database and see if they've been used elsewhere, if you can find
That's correct.
solve other crimes, or you know, find that paper. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm happy with what I do, and if I don't know what to do, everybody is so willing to, you know, help me and show me. And I never had a computer till I came there, and I was overwhelmed.
Are you kidding?
No.
You know, a lot of us don't pick up new skills like computers after you know, a certain age.
You're right.
That's a hard thing.
It is. It was very difficult. I didn't even know how to turn a computer on. I mean, we operated out of a shoebox.
Right, right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so everything I've learned, either I've taught myself or they have helped me. So I recently went to a computer class that they sent me to and learned a little bit about Excel. So I'm getting into that to do spreadsheets. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
You ladies are saving the taxpayers quite a bit of money. I mean, it is, and like you said, on the flip side, or these things just wouldn't get done, that we
That's
don't
correct.
have enough staff to do all of the things that you all do, or you free staff up to do other things. Miss Nancy, what do you do these days? I know you're not carrying the mail up and down anymore.
No, I'll go back to, I'll do copies for them. And first thing I do, I'll make the coffee. Have
That
the
is
coffee
important.
ready.
I'm a little cranky without my coffee.
And when my boss comes in, he'll ask me to do something, I'll do it. And then the secretary, Judy, she runs copies, or I'll run copies for her. And whatever they ask me to do, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do in your paid career? You had a very long
I was
career
a PSO, Patrol Service Officer. I was started out as a school guard.
there. That's what I remembered.
Yeah.
A school crossing guard.
Yeah, started out as a school guard, and they asked me to be a PSO. I said, "What in the world is that?"
What is it?
It's a Patrol Service Officer. We now the PSOs now they cut their hours. They have two that comes in at 7 to 11, and then one from the other two from 11 to 3. So, but they do more than what I was doing, because they go in now and they will mark the cars if their license have expired or no license or abandoned car. They do all that now. Now, when I come out, I wasn't doing that.
You did, though, like parking, special events. You did a lot of stuff.
Yep.
I remember that.
And I got to do the concerts. I worked with Elvis.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, yes.
That's exciting.
I was on the stage with Elvis.
Were you really?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you end up on the stage from working parking to being on the stage? Or were you security?
Security. Keep from the kids jumping up there, you know.
Oh, I bet. I bet that took a lot of people. Because he was here, I think he was here twice. Once was in the heyday and once was sort
One
of.
was in 70
yeah, a little bit old Elvis, yeah.
Yeah.
That is so
Every
cool.
time he'd reach over to get a glass of water, he'd wink at me.
Oh.
But you know what? If I'd have known that man was going to pass away as early as he did, they invited me to his motel, I would have went.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you should have gone. Oh my goodness.
I'm just joking.
Oh.
Are we on TV?
Yes, ma'am, we are. You're going to get yourself in trouble?
Oh, Lord.
You've had a colorful life, Miss Nancy. You've lived it up.
I have. I've been there. I mean, you know, I have a mechanical heart valve, and the good Lord's been good to me. He knows I love this work. You know, with the police department, he's kept going.
So what is it about the police department that drew you there? Because you've been there for, you know, since you were...
I was 39 years old when I
Okay.
started, and it's just I just love to do for the policemen. You know, they're out here risking their lives for us, and anything I can do, I'm willing to do it.
So what would you say to people who maybe aren't sure if they want to volunteer or if they have the time? I mean, what What gets you out of bed in the morning to do this?
Just the fact that I'm helping people. And I think more people should volunteer and give of their time. But you know, in today's society, people don't want to do something for nothing.
Marilyn and I are the only two that I know of that's actually volunteer, right?
Yeah,
In
I
the
don't know of
police.
anyone
There's
else.
certainly a lot throughout the city, and a lot of those are kind of event oriented. Like I'll go read to the little kiddies from Mayor's Book
Right.
Club, but that's 2 or 3 hours a month. It's not obviously
There's
what
something
you do,
out
but-
there to fit everyone. And as I said, I have always had a special place in my heart for police. Knowing now what I did not know 13 years ago, I have an even greater respect. What they deal with on a daily basis, the public has no idea. They think we sit there and drink coffee and donuts all day. That's not what they do.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming, the tasks that they have each and every day to do. There's plenty to keep them busy.
Well, and I think, you've certainly seen changes in police work and the amount of paperwork and cataloging and
Yes.
keeping up with stuff. And now body cams, and you've got to have all that, footage somewhere and stuff in storage and people to review it. And it is, the men and women on the street are actually a small-ish part of the police department now. And they're out more, they're really focused on community policing, they're
Yes.
looking for things when they're not responding to something specific.
And I think, too, that there's a false attitude towards police because of all these television programs. And I think some of them do justice and some of them don't. But it's not like 48 hours. I mean, you do have literally 48 hours to get your leads. If you don't get them in that amount of time, then there's a good possibility it's going to take a lot longer. But I find that people that do watch 48 hours, to them it's done in a matter of an hour. It's not that easy. I mean,
Right.
it takes
and then
hours
you add
and
the whole
hours.
court process to it, and police
Correct.
are very involved in that and have to testify and prepare everything.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a long process. I think the public think, and forensic evidence is never solved as quickly as it is on TV.
No, in the forensics that you do, what's on television is so far-fetched and make-believe compared to what actually does go on, and the things that you have available to you to be able to do forensics. So it's an overwhelming task. It is.
Now, was it Chief Minetti who brought both of you in? I know you said he was a neighbor of yours and encouraged you. Didn't you also know the chief or work at some point, or?
Chief Minetti, I've gone through four or five chiefs.
Right, if you count Tommy twice.
Well, when I first come, the chief was from New York. What was his name? His picture's on the wall. Oh heavens, I can't think of his name.
And then Chief Minetti,
Eddie.
who was there for quite a while.
Yeah. And then, what was the other one?
Townsend.
No.
Jordan. Jordan.
Jordan.
Oh, I thought it was Townsend and Jordan, and then Townsend again.
Well, he was twice.
probably was.
Yeah, he was twice.
He was twice.
Yeah.
And now you have Chief Salt.
Now we have Chief Salt, yes.
I love him. He's real sweet.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you both. And if you would I want to close by again talking to people about giving back and volunteering and, police work, and certainly the 10 hours a day that you work are not what every volunteer needs to do.
No.
You know, Miss Nancy's hours are a little less.
Well, I was going to leave the end of this month, but my boss man said, why? And of course, I kind of pouted up a little bit. I said, I don't want to, but I've got to cut my hours. And he said, well, why don't you just come in like maybe Monday, skip Tuesday, come in Wednesday. I said, can I do that? He said, sure. I haven't done it yet, but.
But you know that you can, and I think that's a good thing too about being retired and having that flexibility. You can volunteer as much as you want, and you can cut back when you need to cut back, and still remain, like Miss Nancy, a member of the police family.
And they're very willing to work with you and do whatever they need to do to help you, which I think is a two-way street, so that's really important.
Well, Thank you,
You're
both
welcome.
of you ladies, and what you do for us taxpayers, because again, it's either work that we'd have to pay for, which means more taxes, or work that wouldn't get done, which
Correct.
means longer time solving crimes and, you know,
Yes.
more police having to come in and do that paperwork instead of being out. And it's a huge, huge benefit.
It is, and when you keep up, when you're able to keep up with everything, it makes it easier on the officers and the detectives, everyone. It just makes it easier.
Okay. Well, thank you both
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching. Police work may not be your thing, but do remember there is a volunteer spot in the city of Hampton for you if you are ready and able to give back to the community, whether it's working with little kids or seniors or anything in between, office work or other kinds of things. We rely on our volunteers, and they give our staff so much personally, and they give the taxpayers so much that is of value. Thanks for watching.